Fox Sports.
We are Buffalo. We are NC.
Because of injury, Bruce Chen has become a regular in the Royals rotation. He will make his 14th start tonight and his second against CC Sabathia and the New York Yankees in the last 3 weeks. Sabathia shoots for his 15th win. Bruce goes for his 3rd win in a row. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. The Royals are home after a long trip to the West Coast, and they will be greeted tonight by a hometown crowd, a 10-game homestand, and a 4-game series against the best team in baseball. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. It's good to be back to Kauffman Stadium. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Paul Splittorff. And Split, over the past couple of weeks, the theme around here has been opportunity, and with all the roster moves, players can set themselves up for next year. Now we'll see how some of those guys do against a championship club.
Well, certainly that opportunity is here for these guys, and they got about a month and a half to kind of let the whole world know what they are capable of doing. So kind of settle in. It was a tough road trip for most of you guys, but they're back now, a little bit comfortable in their setup. It'll be tough this weekend against New York.
And on the topic of opportunities, Bruce Chen got one just to get back to the big leagues, and now he has an opportunity to show everyone what he can do as a starting pitcher.
Well, if he comes out and throws it tonight like he did in Seattle over the weekend, it's going to be fun to watch. Everything he threw last weekend moved. Big-time breaking ball against the lefties, elevated the ball when he wanted to, had a little bit extra on it. It was a little bit cooler out there, but he knows how to pitch. Important for him to move the ball around, get it all moving, stay out of the middle of the plate. You see what he's done as a starting pitcher. You know, you go ahead and project that for the entire year. That's an important guy from the left side on your staff.
And let's stick with opportunity. Alex Gordon is back up, playing in left field and giving the Royals some power in the batting order.
You know, I don't know if his bat is any quicker than it was before. I know it's a lot shorter getting to the ball, and he's driving it all over the ballpark. Straight up left field, power to center. He still has the full power. It looks like he's staying on the ball pretty well. Looks like he's pretty comfortable in left field right now, but these are the numbers since his recall that he'll want to build on from there now that he's moved up into the middle of the lineup.
And speaking of power, the Yankees have that. They also have star power with Derek Jeter, who has the most hits in Yankees history, and Alex Rodriguez, who has the 7th most home runs in baseball history. We'll talk more about the Yankees when we come back. Baseball is brought to you tonight by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by the Missouri Lottery. A hot night in Kansas City. The Yankees are acclimated to that. They just left Arlington, Texas, and they arrive in Kansas City with a 1.5 lead over the Rays, who will not play tonight. The Red Sox are trying to hang in there. How about that? 16 games above 500, and that makes you 5.5 games back in the East. Even the Toronto Blue Jays are 5 games above, and they're getting buried in this division. Here's the Yankees batting order tonight, presented by M&I Bank, and all the big bats are in there with the exception of Jorge Posada. He'll get the game off. Francisco Cervelli will do the catching, and the Yankees will be without some speed. Brett Gardner is out. It's Austin Kearns in left field. Let's take a look at what Bruce Chen has to do tonight against the Yankees in the Kia Report.
He would like to come out tonight and throw like he did last weekend, but everything must move here tonight. Start it along plate, get it to a corner, move the arm slide around from high three-quarters, downside arm like right there. Try to keep the leadoff man on base. Royals had a hard time doing that when they were in New York. Just a couple weeks to go.
And CC Sabathia split. He's making his 34th career appearance against the Royals. That's his most against any team.
And you talk about a big game pitcher. He would be one of the guys you would list at the top of the list right now. Great in the second half, great in the postseason, really tough against the Royals. The Royals will want to negate that up and in fastball to the right-hand hitters. Try to lay off that here tonight.
So he knows the Royals know him. Doesn't necessarily mean it's worked out for KC, but Billy Butler might be someone the Royals lean on tonight as he hits .360 in his career against Sabathia. It's the Royals and the Yankees, and the first pitch is next. In high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. And hot Kansas City. At one point today, the heat index was up around 120 degrees. Bruce Chen coming off a great start Saturday at Seattle, facing the Yankees for the second time this year. And they beat him back on July the 22nd. Ball one to Derek Jeter, and as he was warming up today, Split, we noticed that not only is he dropping his arm angle, which he's done this year and really helped him out, but it looked like he was dropping it even lower getting ready for tonight.
Might have been something he was working on and preparing for this ball game here this evening against New York. We know he does it a lot. He doesn't just do it to the lefties. He does it to the righties as well. Yankees arrived late last night. They were down in Arlington, as you mentioned, won extra innings in that ball game. This will be the fourth straight game that they've gone against the left-handed pitcher. Won a game last night with Cliff Lee going for Texas.
94 degrees, the heat index above 100 still. Game started on time at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCA. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes on Derek Jeter. And since we last saw the Yankees, Derek Jeter passed Babe Ruth. What does that feel like on the all-time hits list, and now is currently tied for 38th all-time. He's also passed Mel Ott. A couple of Hall of Famers. Jeter working on his Hall of Fame career, and he grounds out to short to begin the game. Let's go down to the field and welcome in Joel Goldberg. Hi, Joel.
Hey, Ryan. You know, when we were on the road, we were talking about how Ned Yost says that the 2 most important things for a pitcher, first off, pitching, throwing first pitch strikes. Second off, avoiding those 3-ball counts. And he said that for Bruce Chen is even more important than other guys, maybe because he doesn't quite have some of the same dominant stuff. But the numbers certainly back it up. Opponents batting .219 against him after an 0-1 count, .324 after a 1-0 count. The on-base percentage is nearly 200 points apart. He said in the last game, he challenged Bruce Chen. They challenged Bruce Chen and said, we don't want you getting into any 3-ball counts. Stay away from that. That's been a problem. He only had 2 of them all game long. It was the first start all year where he had no walks. He said that's another key tonight. Watch those 3-ball counts and staying away from them, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. He is 1 ball, 1 strike on Nick Swisher.
Well, it comes down to approach. They talk about the hitter's approach all the time. Well, pitchers do the same thing. There are some ball clubs, they want an out or a base hit in 3 pitches total. Not just 3 balls, but in 3 pitches total. They want it to happen quickly.
Nick Swisher with a solid base hit to left field. And along those lines, it was interesting having a conversation with Bob McClure about what Joel was talking about, and that different things work with different pitchers. There's different buzzwords or buzz phrases, if you will. And for whatever reason, this one really hit with Bruce. Don't go to a 3-ball count.
Well, it might be something that will work at a different time. It might be something else. But at this point, right here in 2010, where he is in his career in the rotation with the Royals right now, maybe all of a sudden that hit home, all of a sudden it made an impact, really helped him his last time out.
Because there are so many things you can say to a pitcher, right? You can say, okay, we want first pitch strikes. As you said, we want contact in 3 pitches or less. And the one that Joel just talked about, try and avoid a 3-ball count. He is 2-0 now on Mark Teixeira, who is back with the Yankees after missing 2 games while they were in Texas. He was there for the birth of his 3rd child, a little boy, William Charles, and the Royals are hoping that Teixeira doesn't respond after a baby being born like some of the Royals have so far this year. And there's his first 3-ball count tonight, and it's to Mark Teixeira.
Lance Berkman was picked up over the last couple of weeks. He got the start at first base, with Teixeira not with the ball club.
Yikes. Look at what he does with the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Bruce fills out the count, 3-2. Teixeira having another great year. He handled the pressure of the big contract and playing under the bright lights of New York last season, tied for the league lead with home runs, led the league in RBIs. He has at least 80 runs scored, at least 80 RBIs so far this year. As Chen picks off Teixeira, Billy Butler tags him out, and there are 2 down.
Ryan, the Yankees are running a little bit more this year than they have in past seasons. And right there you see Swisher going on that 3-2 pitch. They figure Teixeira, good bet to put it in play against Chen, who's Not a big strikeout guy, so a good gamble right there. Except, forgot to make sure the guy was going to deliver home. And how about Billy? Just go ahead and run him down. We'll go 1-3 on the putout.
That is up the line and fair. A long throw for Willie Bloomquist. And thanks to Swisher being caught stealing, 10 faces, only 3. First inning, and now the Royals coming up against CC Sabathia with this lineup. Gregor Blanco is back after being away with the birth of his child in Atlanta, so he will lead off. The Royals will stay with Kila Kaihue in the number 4 position against CC Sabathia, and Willie Bloomquist will be at third base tonight. Wilson Betemit is not in the lineup, and the Royals going up against 6'7" CC Sabathia. Here's the Kia report.
Well, he'll look to dominate against the team tonight that hit 207 on that last road trip. Keep the ball down, keep the pitch count down. This is a whole lot different lineup than what he saw a couple of weeks ago when the club was in New York. They have 4 new guys in the lineup, 4 left-handed hitters, but the lefties do better than him against him than the righties. Well, he got 11 hits and a couple walks against him in 6 and 3rd innings a couple weeks ago.
And that lefty-righty seems almost impossible. I mean, if I were a big league left-hand batter, I would think this would be one of the last guys in the world I would want to dig in against.
Absolutely, because he's got that fastball in the mid-90s that he can run up and in any time, and a sweeping breaking ball.
Blanco is down, no balls, 2 strikes. So Gregor was with the Royals in Oakland and then Seattle, but then got word that his wife was going into labor, so he took the earliest flight out on Monday morning to get back to Atlanta and got back in time. And here are the numbers. David DeJesus, after the birth of his son, went 7 out of 12 when he got back. Scott Pasednik was next. When he came back, 9 out of 22. Then Mitch Meyer, his first game back, 2 for 4. And then during this past road trip, Yuniesky Betancourt was gone for 3 days. And when he returned to Anaheim, he went 3 for 3 in his first game and finished the series 5 out of 11.
So the team totals now at 5 players who have missed time because of the birth of a child. So far, they've gone 4 for 4. Everybody's healthy. They're all home and doing well.
Blanco is just 4 out of 22 in the Oakland and Seattle series. This is not the first time he's seen CC Sabathia with the Braves. He hooked up with Sabathia in interleague play and is 0 for 3 with a walk. Late on a fastball, so Sabathia begins his night with a strikeout. Here are the Yankees defensively tonight with Austin Kearns, Curtis Granderson, and Nick Swisher in the outfield. Alex Rodriguez at third, Derek Jeter at short, Robinson Cano at second, Mark Teixeira is at first, and Francisco Cervelli is behind the plate. Jason Kendall takes strike one. He is starting his 107th game behind the plate this year, and that leads all major league catchers. But Ned Yost has hinted recently that some of that playing time might cut back with some of the upcoming day games. Getting late into the summer now and dealing with the extreme heat. He gets one past Jeter and stands at first with one out. And Kendall gets a base hit.
Jason got the ball up in the zone. They're trying to come inside with that cut fastball. Didn't quite get it there, so he was able to get a lot of bat on it. Drive it by Jeter, tried to play it to the backhand. Kendall, one of a number of players who really had a hard time with the bat on that last trip. Talking about cutting back his playing time. Comes at a good time. Also comes at a good time because of all the players you want to look at as far as either backup guys or getting ready for 2011. Yankees are doing a little bit of that same thing with Jorge Posada, giving him some time off, and Cervelli figures to be in there almost half the time from here on to the end of the year. Of course, Joe Girardi will use a number of guys through that DH role. See how they played here this weekend. He had a different DH every game. 4 games when we were in New York. Temperature was about the same for that series as it is here this weekend.
And this is the dog days of the baseball season. The weather is hot. There are much fewer off days than earlier. And when this series wraps up for the Royals, that will wrap up a stretch of 30 games in 31 days. The Yankees now are in the middle of a stretch where they will play 36 games in 37 days. So even a half day off with a regular being the DH means something.
And the Royals right now, Ryan, this is game number 27 of that 31 days. And the Yankees are just starting their tough time.
Joe Girardi, in his second year as Yankee manager, helped them win their 27th World Championship. And you've heard the story. That was his number when he took over as Yankees manager, number 27. And now that they've accomplished that, he has changed his number to number 28.
Well, he's good to go for a few more years. The retired number next will be number 32. To be Elston Howard. So he's okay for another, what, 4 or 5 years?
Off the end of the bat, and Granderson comes up in center field. So Billy is out, and Kendall back to first with 2 away. Well, the Yankees are on their way if you consider where they are right now. They are the only team in the major leagues with 70 wins. They have a game-and-a-half lead over Tampa Bay in the East. And they have been consistent all season long. They have not lost more than 3 games in a row all season. And we're 4.5 months into the season.
Well, they won 103 games a year, going on a pace right now to win 100 more here in 2010. Think about them. They don't have anybody in their division that is intimidated by them. Tampa Bay is for real. Boston Red Sox don't care. They're just coming off a homestand where they had a losing homestand to both Toronto and Boston. So those boys over there, they don't mind lining up against them.
A broken bat, and it's going to drop in front of Granderson. So again, another example of how the game can even itself out. Keela lined out several times in the Angels series. Good swings, good contact, nothing to show for it. Now he loses a bat, but gains a hit.
And they've also based it out of an 0 for 8 period for him. That ball in between the trademark and the pine tar, so it got in pretty well. Granderson plays a normally very deep center field, so plenty of room out there behind second base to drop one in.
You and I both heard Ned Yost talking about Keela before the game today, and it was interesting while we're in this opportunity/observation period of the season. Ned said he's not necessarily concerned with Keela's numbers at the moment. It's the quality of his at-bats. And he's satisfied enough with the quality of his at-bats that he's going to leave him in the lineup in the number 4 spot.
Well, that's why they brought him up here. I mean, they let a pretty good player go, a guy who's leading them in home runs and RBIs, to get him in the lineup, to get an opportunity to look at him for a month and a half. He'll, now 26 years old. This is 9th professional season, so it's getting time to find out for everybody involved.
Betancourt, who had a great series in Anaheim, drives it deep to center field, but Granderson runs it down, and there is no score at the end of 1. To you by Thoroughbred Ford. Save big on gas with the exciting new Fiesta. See it today at Thoroughbred Ford. No score to the second inning. Bruce Chen gave up a 1-out single, but then Nick Swisher was caught stealing, and he faced only 3. It'll be Alex Rodriguez with nobody on base, and then Robinson Cano and Marcus Thames. And nobody on base is always important when Rodriguez comes to the plate. He has driven in 90 this year and is the second most in the American League. Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers has 93. And if he wants to bunt, you go right ahead.
Willie Bloomquist not moving a step at third base. Go ahead and play deep. Try and play him straight up right there. Nobody has moved yet.
When the Royals were in New York, Alex Rodriguez hit his 599th home run, and then he had 3 more games to get number 600 against the Royals. It did not happen. Then a road trip. It didn't happen then, and he hit number 600 at Yankee Stadium against Sean Markham, who's from Excelsior Springs and now playing for the Blue Jays, becoming the youngest player ever to reach 600 career home runs. Center field, medium deep, and Blanco is there for out number 1. Tonight's number for our Take the Field sweepstakes is 49. If you'd like to win a pair of replica Royals jerseys, go to foxsportskansascity.com during tonight's game and enter the sweepstakes, including the number 49. There's a jersey winner every game, and one fan will throw out the first pitch at next year's Fox Sports Kansas City jersey giveaway game.
I'm trying to think of some guys who wore number 49 for our ball club. I don't think there have been too many.
I've got 3 right here.
Do you know?
Yeah. And all would be pitchers. Robinson Cano's .329 average is 4th in the American League. Coming off a 200-hit season last year. In fact, both Cano and shortstop Derek Jeter had 200 hits. And if that sounds like an oddity, it is. That was the first time in Major League history that a second baseman and a shortstop on the same team both had 200 hits.
It's a nice feat for Cano because he is known as a slow starter. Last year was the first year he didn't get off to a slow start. Now here, he got off to a great start in the month of April. In fact, he was leading the league in hitting for most of the first half of the year. I'm not going to draw another breath until you tell me about number 49.
John Bale, a lefty. Dennis Reyes.
Big sweat.
Big sweat.
Yeah.
He'd have been struggling tonight. And Doug Linton. A 1-out walk to Cano. In his start on Saturday at Seattle, Bruce with his best start of the year, and he is the type of pitcher that is going to have to work out of trouble from time to time, but there was no trouble at all against the Mariners. And he did not have a single walk in 7 innings. That's the first time all year Bruce has gone without a walk in a start. Marcus Thames broke his bat, and Aviles backs up to make the catch. So Thames, who had 2 big hits for the Yankees in Texas last night, is out on 1 pitch.
And Ryan, you talk about that ball game last weekend for Bruce. Kind of interesting. This year, his best 2 outings have both been on the road. One against the Angels out on the West Coast was not here, and that one was on the road as well. So his best 2 have come away from this ballpark. Time to change that.
And in climates that would be good to pitch in with the cool air on the West Coast, this would be a good night to be pitch efficient. Not just for yourself if you're the pitcher, but for the sake of everyone else that's standing around on defense.
This might be a bigger adjustment for the Royals tonight, considering where they have been the last week and a half. Of course, you mentioned the Yankees coming in from down in Arlington, smoking hot right down there. They went 1-1 to open this 5-game or the 6-game trip.
Kearns lines it to left field. Cano will stop at second. So the Yankees have 2 on with 2 out.
And the Yankees add the players not just to help them in the stretch drive to get out of the division, but they also build the team for the postseason. Now they have a number of guys on their team that have problems with left-handed pitching, but Kearns is not one of them. So they pick him up with the idea, he'll back up in the outfield. He'll be some depth off the bench. He'll be a bat coming off the bench. He's a 360 lifetime hitter against left-handed pitching. So all of a sudden now he is very valuable to their ball club as they not only look to get to the postseason, but also get to the World Series, and they hope they can win that as well. This is a guy that does have trouble against left-handed pitching.
And with the Yankees, he is a number 8 hitter after leading off for the Tigers for many years, and he gets that into center field. Blanco plays it on 2 hops. Cano going on contact with 2 outs. So he comes around to score, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
The Rangers are just trying to stay with this ball. They're going breaking ball down the way. I'm sure they saw the tape from last weekend when the lefties from Seattle saw a lot of breaking balls from Bruce Chen. So just cover the plate, work the middle of the field, drop it in the outfield. Cano was going to get a good look at that ball anyhow, being on second base. But with 2 outs, you're going to go on anything that's hit in fair territory.
So the 1-out walk turns into a run. And now 2 aboard for the number 9 hitter, Francisco Cervelli, who has a similar story to Bruce Chen. Bruce Chen doesn't sound like a guy from Panama, but he is. And Francisco Cervelli doesn't sound like a guy from Venezuela, but he is. Family was originally from Italy, and when the Venezuelan economy was strong, the Cervelli family moved to Venezuela, so that's where he grew up. Force out at second base to get Curtis Granderson and end the inning. The Yankees take a 1-0 lead. Sorts between Bruce Chen and CC Sabathia back on July the 22nd. Sabathia going 6 1/3, getting the win. Bruce Chen took the loss, going 6 innings. Prior to that, CC Sabathia had gone at least 7 innings in 9 consecutive starts, but the Royals got 11 hits off of him and knocked him out in the 7th. And that leads to tonight's sprint, you call it. Who will last longer tonight? Will it be Sabathia or Chen? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A for Sabathia, B for Chen.
And Ron, you talk about those number of outings for Sabathia. That was his shortest outing since the end of May. So he goes deep into ball games. I'll still vote for our guy.
Alex with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs on the road trip. He has 5 home runs this year, 4 since being called up. And the last time the Royals were home in a series with Baltimore, looked like the Royals were going to lose game 1, and Alex turned that around with a walk-off home run in the 9th inning.
Now, he might build up some confidence playing in AAA because he started to hit the long ball there. Had 14 home runs. He was with the Omaha Royals, so all of a sudden you build some confidence there, find out you can reach the fences, not only to the right side, but also up the middle and left center field. So 14 home runs there, now driving the ball harder. Now he's with the Big League Ball Club.
He did not swing. An appeal down to Mike Muslinski. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We were talking about Sabathia doing better against right-hand hitters than lefties. And he would seem like a tough guy to dig in against if you're a left-hand batter. Well, he is for Alex, who's just 2 out of 17 against Sabathia. And he fights that pitch off. And we stay at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tough to simulate hitting against a guy like that. Don't see many of them. They're 6'7" and about 290 pounds. Having the velocity in the mid-90s. That's how the numbers add up so far in 2010.
Drives that to the opposite field, and Kearns with a running reach makes the play.
They're going away from Alex right there. That's the fastball, middle to the outer half of the plate. Kearns, fortunately for New York, was shaded towards the line. Still made it a tough play for him. He was playing left field most of the time with Cleveland early in this year. He was out in right field a little bit since Chu was hurt. He also played a half a dozen games in center field, so he's a guy the Yankees feel they can move around.
Ball 1 to Mike Aviles, who has plenty of friends and family watching back in New York, growing up there. A couple of years ago, got his first big league hit at what is now Old Yankee Stadium. And that was the beginning of his run that resulted in the Royals' 2008 Player of the Year. Had 3 hits yesterday and finished the road trip hitting at .333. And I tell you what, Split, his hit yesterday as Teixeira gets his body in front of it, blocks it, and then dives to the bag for the out. His hit yesterday for a while looked like that might be the only hit the way Jared Weaver was pitching.
You think New York Yankees, you think offense all the way, but they're a solid defensive team, the second best, at least numbers-wise, in the American League. Teixeira is good defensively at first base as anybody else in all the baseball. The rest of the infielders really love having him over there at first. He bails them out a number of times. Yeah, Jared Weaver kind of had that going yesterday, didn't he?
He really did. Locating his fastball, changing speeds on his breaking ball, and Mike's first hit was just kind of a half swing bloop over first base. And that was the only hit given up by Weaver. He had retired 10 in a row with 6 strikeouts. I mean, he was just going right through the Royals. And then out of nowhere, Yuniesky Betancourt leads off the 6th with a home run. And that resulted in an extra inning game. So nobody scored until Bobby Abreu's home run in the bottom of the 10th. Popped up, shallow left, much easier play for Austin Kearns. And it's an easy inning for CC Sabathia. And breakfast items at Panera Bread and by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. Yankees on an RBI from Curtis Granderson have a 1-0 lead, and now second time through the order for Bruce Chen. Derek Jeter, Nick Swisher, and Mark Teixeira. Low to Jeter. He grounded out to short in the first inning. So Jeter 38th on the all-time hit list and 1 hit away from a tie for 37th with Frankie Frisch. I got to think after a while he is becoming somewhat numb to it, or maybe he isn't, but the players that he is beginning to pass now. First of all, on the Yankees all-time hit list, he has the most hits in Yankee history, but I mean, you're talking about Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle, and now getting up on the all-time hit list and passing Babe Ruth again.
Ryan, he's simply to the point after 15 years at this level and really setting the bar high year after year. Everybody he passes will already be in the Hall of Fame. We went through that a little bit here when George was making the run at 3,000 hits, and he had played better than 15 years, and he did the same thing. All of a sudden, it's a little check of the history book and say, well, let's find out a little bit more about these guys. It's a really fun time for them to go through it, and also for their teammates. These are names you've heard about, and all of a sudden you got an opportunity to look up and, well, how good were they? When did they play? And maybe look at their careers a little bit better. Those are the active guys right there. See anybody there that is not going to be a Hall of Famer?
Nope. Off of Betancourt's glove. If he fields that cleanly, Jeter is still probably safe. So he'll get an infield single to begin the third inning.
Jay Jeter's always been an inside-out hitter. Right there is the cut fastball. Try to run it inside part. He gets his hands through the zone, so he works the middle of the field. More room out there than any place else. There's more room to cover both shortstop and the second baseman. It's 1 for 2 tonight.
Every now and then, though, he'll surprise you and turn on a ball. And I can think of a home run he hit here 3 or 4 years ago, which is one of the longest home runs I've seen in 12 years from a right-hand batter. I mean, he cleared the fountains out in left center field.
Well, that's called sitting on a pitch. I mean, he had an idea of what he was going to get. Everything was set up to where all of a sudden now, let's go ahead and get the bat head out. You have to respect his power.
Still can run, 12 stolen bases. And Nick Swisher at the plate. He singled in the first inning, then was caught stealing. Chen evens the count at 1-1. Swisher, not your prototypical number 2 hitter, as he's going to give you 22 home runs, and he will strike out. But there's a number 2 hitter type of a swing. He guides it through the right side with the big hole. Jeter trying to go first to third. He beats the throw from Meyer.
Brian, that is a hitter up there knowing what he wants to do, hit the ball to the right side. That entire right side of the field is open. You go off speed because he gives you a better chance to force him to pull the ball. He was able to stay back, wait on a little bit more, take advantage of the open right side of the field. This is what you want to stay away from. This is something the Royals couldn't do when they were in New York. Keep the leadoff man off base. Pressure that they put on you is cumulative throughout the ball game, not only on the pitcher but also the middle infielders.
Center field, and deep enough to get Jeter to the plate. Teixeira will get an RBI with the sacrifice fly. Swisher will stay at first. Teixeira drives in his 86th, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead.
Kind of a business-like approach here in this inning by New York. Get your leadoff man on base, get through the open right side, and then an RBI man comes up and hits a fly ball to straight up center field. Pretty good team baseball right there. They're up 2-0.
And here's Alex Rodriguez. Bruce got him on a fly ball to center field first time up and had him fooled there, 0-1. Working on his 13th consecutive season with at least 100 RBIs. And he should fly right by that. He's already at 90.
He was in a little bit of a slump when he finally got home on number 600. You mentioned the period of time he won an entire road trip without a home run, 12 straight games. In fact, he was 0 for 17 overall when he finally unloaded.
He had a chance to hit number 500 and number 600 against the same pitcher, the Royals' Kyle Davies. That didn't work out, but what did happen was he hit number 600 3 years to the day of number 500. It's a pretty good pace, isn't it?
Remember number
100
500?
home runs every 3 years?
Remember number 500?
I sure do.
Saturday afternoon ball game in New York.
Kyle's first game as a Royal.
Mm-hmm.
First inning as a Royal.
Thing about Kyle this time around, he still went after him. He didn't let that bother him what happened 3 years ago.
Wouldn't chase. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right now 66% with the Yankees in front 2-0. Think Sabathia will last longer tonight. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals. A space. A for Sabathia, B for Chen. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Rodriguez. 601 career home runs. 7th all time. Next on the list is Sammy Sosa, who has 609. Got him over the inside corner. Rodriguez disagrees, But he's down, and Bruce has his first strikeout.
Well, Ryan, he is so powerful and lets the ball out over the plate to the outer half. You really have to come inside, not only off the plate, be able to let him know that you're willing to throw a strike on the inside part. Now, the Royals might have gotten a break with that last call, but Jason Kendall helps him out by getting that ball in the corner. You got to pound him inside at least part of the time to protect anywhere else you might want to go.
So 2 down to Robinson Cano, and Bruce drops down, and Cano fouls it away. With 1 out, Cano walked in the second inning and came around to score on Granderson's base hit.
Talking about guys that can handle left-handed pitching and some that cannot. Cano is a lifetime 300 hitter against lefties, so he hangs in well.
Bruce stumbled as he threw that pitch. So he's going to kick around the dirt to improve his footing.
So Dave LaRoche used to have that hesitation ball. Take the stride, stop, and lob one in there. That wasn't it right there.
That wasn't his intent. Got Cano reaching, and Blanco with the ball carrying has to go almost all the way back to the warning track to make the catch. The inning is over. The Yankees had a run. Kemp, and following the tragic murder of his daughter Allie, I'm sure you remember the story, Roger and his wife Kathy established the Allie Kemp Educational Foundation, or TAKE Foundation, which has provided more than 32,000 girls and women free hands-on self-defense training. So sharing their family's tragedy and turning it into a positive program, Roger has created a lasting legacy in memory of his daughter. Man, I remember that like it was yesterday. Willie Blomqvist takes a 1-0-1 pitch, that is, into center field for a leadoff single. So the Royals down 2-0, come back with the leadoff man on, and their third hit against CC Sabathia.
That would have happened not long after you were in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it was my first or second year. It took a while, but they finally found who they needed to find. Gregor Blanco struck out swinging in the first inning. That's Sabathia's only strikeout. You know, Split, you were talking about how big he is, and you know, he looks like an offensive lineman, one of the biggest men in the game. I remember when he got to the big leagues, at the age of 20 back in 2001, and the Indians were a little bit concerned about his size. But to his credit, he has stayed in great shape. He has never been on the disabled list because of an arm injury. He's had other ailments. He's a great athlete, fields his position well. The Yankees don't turn the double play. They get the force at second base, one away.
They had to be concerned about his size. You just don't see many people of that size at 20 years old. Brace it down a little bit right there. He didn't get on top of that throw to second base very well. Jeter doesn't have much to handle as far as the throw right there. Kind of broke down a little bit. But you're right. He does handle himself very well in the middle of the field. He is quite an athlete. But when a guy comes in at 20 years old and he's already 275 pounds, you know he's got an opportunity maybe to eat his way right out of the league. I mean, you've seen it happen before. But to his credit, he has worked hard and he's kept it right there. You know, he's a mature player. He's big and strong and all kind of endurance. You know, it's tough to get out of the game.
With Blanco at first base and with news regarding his family, let's check in with Joel.
Well, Ryan, we've been talking about all of the Royals' new dads, and Gregor Blanco, it's actually his second son that was born the other day. But we talk about him crisscrossing the country after the trade. 1 in the morning, he gets a phone call from his wife, Zulai. She called him at 1 in the morning while he was in Seattle saying, "You better get home early." This was early Saturday morning. He flew home as quickly as he could, but he was delayed the whole way. Left at 5 in the morning, didn't get to Atlanta until 9 o'clock. You want to talk about a guy having some serious nerves. He kept getting updates from his wife. Gets there at 9 o'clock, and their son, Gregor Jr., was born just after midnight. So it was Friday morning flight. Saturday morning, about 1 in the morning, Gregor Jr. was born. And so a very nerve-wracking day, but a good ending as his wife was really holding out as long as she could, guys, because she was in a lot of pain and she really wanted Gregor to be there. Now, how about this? How about the names? Gregor has a twin brother named Gregory. Now, Gregor, his two sons now, are named Grainer and Gregor. And his brother, Gregory's son's name is Graber. Got that all figured out?
Gregor, Graber, Gregory, and Grainer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Gregor's kids are Gregor and Grainer. Grainer being the older. And Gregory's, at least the one son that was brought up to me, is Graber. It'll be a test later.
Or you can just do it the easy way and go the George Foreman route and just name everyone George.
Well, just don't call he or his brother Greg. And he said that was confusing when he was a kid. Their late mother, Rosa, named them Gregor and Gregory. She liked those names. And so that certainly led to some confusion. But he says no confusion at this point with Grainer, Gregor, and his nephew, Graber.
You got that all sorted out, Split?
Nothing.
Okay.
Easily confused. You lost me right about the time that Gregor made it back on time.
Well, Unievsky named his daughter with a kind of a twist from his name, Unissa.
Mm-hmm.
2 on, 1 out. Billy Butler flied to center his first time, and now he grounds it right to Cano. And that is an easy 4-6-3 double play for the Yankees. And at the end of 3, New York has a 2-0 lead. Fourth inning. Let's compare Bruce Chen and CC Sabathia on the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. And Sabathia up to 97 tonight. Bruce Chen up to 90. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Bruce wouldn't mind matching Sabathia as far as innings and overall line score, but I don't think he's going to worry about where he compares on the radar gun. That's two completely different styles of pitching.
Yeah, he's all about put a little on, take a little off, get it to move and dance around a little bit. Love to be able to throw 97, but that's not going to happen. It's maybe what held him back a little bit early in his career is trying to throw too hard. So many guys get locked up with that radar gun. If you talk to most people who have been around, they'd say the radar gun is about fourth on the list. Your command would be important, movement would be important, and ability to get a breaking ball over. Trying to do those three things before you worry about how hard you're throwing.
And down goes Marcus Thames. Second strikeout for Bruce Chen. Here's his pitch breakdown, and a guy who will change speed, so fewer than half of his pitches tonight have been fastballs. And now Austin Kearns with one out.
Big item for him, Ryan, is about 70% has been in the zone so far. So as long as he's doing that, get ahead, that first pitch, get the butt count even at 1-1, and operate from there.
Kearns way out in front, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Another thing he's done well so far tonight when he's fallen behind in the count, he's had ability to get the changeup over right here. Kearns, a dead fastball hitter, looking to pull the ball, has power. 10 behind in the count. Maybe come with the off speed and find the zone with it.
And just misses inside. Kearns back in 1998 was the Cincinnati Reds first round draft pick. Went through a series of injuries when he was with the Reds. Also played with the Washington Nationals for Manny Acta, and then followed Manny Acta to the Indians, where he started this year, and then traded to the Yankees right around the deadline. You know, another thing about what the Yankees are able to do at the trading deadline is they take another team's 3 or 4 hitter, and because of the strength of their lineup, they can plug in Austin Kearns as their number 7 hitter. High and deep into left center, and with the heat, the ball will carry. Alex Gordon to the wall, and it's gone. So it doesn't matter where you put him in the lineup. Austin Kearns still hitting for power, and the Yankees now have scored 1 run in each of the last 3 innings.
Kearns has always been a power hitter. Regardless of what team you put him on, that's what he's going to bring to the ballpark. Good fastball hitter, good high ball hitter. Loves to loft the ball. It's a straight change right there, but that ball's in the middle of the plate, and he knows what to do with it. He's already seen that early in the at-bat. No doubt that he can reach the fountains in left field. And the other thing about New York, Ryan, that you mentioned, they can take somebody else's 3 or 4 hitter and bat him 7th or bring him off the bench, but they can always take on a little bit more payroll second half of the year. So that's something some clubs cannot do.
Curtis Granderson doesn't look like a struggling hitter tonight. That's his 2nd hit. He drove in a run with a single in the 2nd inning. So he had been 0 for 9 and 3 for his last 29, but tonight he is 2 for 2.
The thing you know about Granderson, he'll hang in and battle. Tremendous character guy. In fact, they wanted him as much for their clubhouse as they did center field in their lineup. Battles hard every day, every at bat. They learned that coming up through the Tiger organization.
Yankees gave up a pretty good player to get Curtis Granderson and rookie Austin Jackson. So runner at second, 1 out. And now Francisco Cervelli, who grew up in Venezuela, split, not to be confused with grow up in Venezuela.
You know, when you're talking about him and his name doesn't sound like he was from Venezuela, I thought of Lou Piniella, who the Royals traded to New York for Lindy McDaniel, one of the worst trades the club ever made. Lou got there, he's an instant favorite. And he told me about it, and he says, now, he's Spanish, you know, but the people there thought he was Italian. So he didn't tell them any different. They loved him from the beginning. Hey, Lou.
Meyer runs down the fly ball from Cervelli, and now 2 down in the 4th inning.
Lou said, now they'll figure it out soon enough, but hopefully I'm red hot with the bat by then, and it won't make any difference.
Believe it or not, the NFL is back with 2 Fox preseason specials beginning on Thursday, August 19th, as Tom Brady and the Patriots take on the Falcons. Then on Friday, August 20th, the Eagles begin life without Donovan McNabb as they take on Ocho Cinco, T.O. and the Bengals. Both games start at 7 p.m. in high definition, only on Fox. Is there enough room in the locker room for T.O. and Ocho Cinco?
I was going to say, is there enough style there? But the Cowboys, they're playing the second game of the preseason tonight already. They went in the Hall of Fame game because Emmett went into the Hall of Fame. They're playing again tonight.
They sure don't wait very long, do they, when camp starts? I mean, they get started quicker with the games than I think baseball spring training does, don't they? Or
I think baseball's down to, what, 8 or 9 days?
Really?
I don't know. You're there.
If you don't count pitchers and catchers, but I get, 8 or 9 days of the full squad. But
seems like it happens really fast in baseball now. A lot faster than it did 25 years ago.
Long throw, Betancourt, a dig by Billy Butler. And the Royals get Derek Jeter to end the 4th, but the Yankees tack on another run. Let's take a look at tonight's Cabot Woodstain legendary performance. It is August the 12th, and on this date back in 1987, Steve Alboni hits a tie-breaking home run for the Royals in the bottom of the 8th. That is a Royals 2-1 win. Charlie Leibrandt with a complete game, probably broke, what, 7 bats at least.
I understand Jamie Quirk and Kevin Seitzer also had big nights, 3 hits apiece. But Seitzer did that all the time. Jamie, not so much.
Keela throws a breaking ball foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Now, unlike last year, Jamie's not here to defend himself unless he's tuned in Houston or wherever the Astros are.
But he'd tell you, if I got 3 hits today, I need the next couple of days off to rest up. He was awesome.
One and two on Keela. Had a broken bat single to center field in the first inning. There's 2 out of 25 on the trip, but not the only way the Royals are evaluating him right now. The numbers, that is. He had quite a few lineouts on the infield and in the outfield. So at this point, the Royals are satisfied with his approach at the plate, and he continues to bat fourth. And then the obvious question comes up, Split. If he doesn't bat fourth, then who does?
I think we'll see a lot of people moving in and out of that spot as they take a number of looks. It depends on who the guy is who's swinging it well for a couple of days, and maybe about matchups, if you can find a way to line that up. Big thing for Keela, he has nothing else to prove by going back to the minor leagues. I mean, AAA is no problem for him. Time for the club to find a way to get him here and give him an opportunity to have some success at this level, and also for him and his mindset to figure a way to get over that final hurdle to be a productive major league player.
Sabathia reaching back for a little extra on that last pitch. That hit 99. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. You know, on one hand, it's easy to say, well, that's a lot of pressure on someone with very little major league experience to plug him in the number 4 spot, and so far that hasn't worked out. But on the other side of that, as you pointed out earlier, Split, this is his 9th year of professional baseball. So this isn't a 21-year-old who spent a couple of months in AAA and all of a sudden he's in the big leagues. He's been a pro and a middle-of-the-order guy for a long time. Into right center, deep. It's a long run for Granderson, and backs up onto the warning track for the out. 4-game series with the Yankees, and coming up on Saturday, that's a 6:10 game. The first 20,000 fans receive a 1980 AL Champions coaster set presented by AT&T. For details or to buy your tickets right now, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS.
1980, you were a little leaguer about that time?
I would give you 9 years old that year. Yep. But I knew who that blonde lefty was with the big glasses for the Royals. There is a trademark Derek Jeter play. In the hole, jump throw, and an out at first.
Right, and they say that is the play that all shortstops will be judged. Can you make the play in the hole? He's always been able to do it. That leap and throw. Amazing, he still has the arm to do it. And has it on line. When he goes to Cooperstown, that will probably be on his plaque. That play right there.
He made a play like that here. I think it was the same game he hit that long home run that we were talking about. And John Sleezer of the Kansas City Star, as he does so often, captured it perfectly. Well, there's Alex driving it to the opposite field again, and with 2 outs, he's at second base. He lined out to left and lost a hit on a nice play by Austin Kearns in the second, and that's his 4th double of the year.
This is what you want to see from Gordon right here. Hang tough against the lefty. The ball is not only away, but it's down and away. He's still able to go get it. Now in the outfield, he's getting to the point they're going to have to decide a little bit. We still shade him as a pull hitter. We go the opposite way a little bit. See if people change it up between now and the end of the year as you head into 2011. Up until now, he was a pull hitter. Now I don't know.
And Mike Aviles with 2 outs drives it to center. Alex is around third. Granderson's throw is not in time. Pretty good throw from Granderson, and Cervelli just couldn't quite get the tag there. Well, Mike Aviles comes up big with 2 outs, and the Royals are on the board.
I don't think the same question. Offense is going to be tough to come by for the Royals here the last month and a half of the year. So many veteran guys are gone, but just hang in and battle. Everybody do a little something. The Royals want to be more athletic, so they go first to third, second to home on the base hit. Gordon does it there. The Royals are on the board. Now down 3-1.
And again, the Royals get a run after 2 outs and nobody on base. So Alex Gordon is safe at home, safe and secure in New York life. By the way, the last 3 Royals have swung at the first pitch from Sabathia. Mitch Meyer didn't get a hittable pitch and takes ball 1. And I can think of games when the Royals have beaten Sabathia, and they've done it 10 times. So they've had their share of success against him. And it seems like in most of those games, if memory serves me right, that the Royals were aggressive in the count and didn't allow themselves to fall behind. 1 ball, 1 strike on Meyer. He is 0 for 1.
Royals are really impressive against Sabathia the last time out. The 11 hits in that ball game, 4 walks, and 6 in the 3rd innings. Not a big time power hitting team. Just got to hit the ball up the middle, work the middle of the field. Sanchez's approach is whatever type of hitter you are, try to play to what you have going well for you. If it happens to be a ball that's up in the zone or a ball that's on the inner half, if you're an opposite field guy, look for something on the outer half. Big item is know what kind of hitter you are.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Meyer.
So much as it made this ball club this year with the lack of power. The on-base percentage the first half of the year was way up from what it had been the last 4 or 5 years. Team batting average way up. They had the total runs scored in the middle part of the league. Can't remember the last time they were there. Seems to be tougher here the last month and a half with so much turnover, especially against a guy like Sabathia.
Sabathia's shirt with the humidity is getting heavier by the second as it's filling up with perspiration. Mitch just barely made contact, still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Different time of year where you've had a number of ball games in weather like this, so you're more accustomed to it now than maybe you were the first time around in mid-July. Depends on where you play, but they've had hot weather in New York. In fact, some towns are saying this is the hottest summer they've ever had. Places like Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore's had a hard time.
Sabathia strikes out his second, but the Royals strike with a run to make it 3-1. The American League in hitting, just missing some power, and most of their runs have come on 3 hits this year, but we see a little bit of power last inning. You get a double, a single, and all of a sudden you need only 2 hits to get a run.
Oh, you really need to hang tough. Find a way to go in and plug and just battle them. Hope you can stay close. That comes down to Bruce Chen having a good night here tonight, but just hang in and battle and continue to develop young players. Play hard day in and day out and see how it works out when the ball game is over.
Yankees have scored in each of the last 3 innings against Bruce Chen, and the Royals getting their first run in the bottom of the 4th. Mitch Meyer moves to center field. Willie Bloomquist has moved to right field. And with Willie Bloomquist starting at third base, that means a change there. It's Wilson Betemit. So all of this with Gregor Blanco coming out before the top of the 5th inning. So obviously we hope that's nothing serious. The first thing that would pop into my mind is road trip on the West Coast, away from the team for a few days, and your first game back on the field, a hot night like tonight. Wouldn't be surprised to hear that maybe a leg cramped up. But that is purely speculation. As Swisher hits it foul off the right field line, still down to the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Swisher has 2 singles against Bruce Chen. The Yankees with 3 runs on 7 hits. Curtis Granderson drove in a run in the 2nd. Mark Teixeira with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd. And Austin Kearns with a home run in the 4th. Swisher, Teixeira, and Rodriguez here in the top of the 5th inning. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Swisher helped set up the Yankees' 2nd run after Derek Jeter singled. And with the hole on the right side, with the first baseman covering Jeter, Swisher hit a ground ball through the right side. That got Jeter to 3rd, and then he came home on the sacrifice fly. And trying to stay back and go the other way against Chen. He's fouled off 3 in a row into the seats off of the right field line. Bruce is 1-4 in his career against the Yankees, and he has not beaten them in 5 years. Let's go back to 2005. And also back in 2005, that was the last time Bruce Chen won 3 consecutive starts. And he's trying to match that tonight.
How many times do you see a starting pitcher work out of the stretch all night long, even with nobody on base? But so much time in the pen for him. He established that, liced it, so he goes that way. Really want to get the first man out in this inning. You're in the middle innings. The pitch totals are starting to mount a little bit. It's hot. You're trailing, but Swisher also a better hitter from the other side of the plate than he is as a right-handed guy. Is the one you want to get right here.
And the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
You need to strike. You try to get something on the plate at the knees. He's right about there.
Swisher of the Moneyball era of the A's, so always has had a good eye. Very strict with the strike zone, and even when his batting average has been down in his career, his on-base percentage has been productive.
About the Moneyball guys, they had the high on-base percentage, had a lot of free passes, and a lot of home runs.
Good pitch in on the hands, and you talked about that very early on. Bruce's ability to get in on the right-hand batters.
You see him messing it up the last 2 pitches. Back to the windup.
Connection between the two?
We might have to ask him about that.
Pulled foul. So Swisher has an 11-pitch plate appearance, including 6 foul balls. And he's spreading those foul balls all around the ballpark.
I bet if we were to ask Bruce about that, he would say, you know, I just felt like doing it. He moves the ball around, changes the release point. Isn't anything that Jason Kendall calls for. Isn't anything that he plans. In fact, he'll tell you as he goes into his windup, he really doesn't know many times whether he's going to go high 3/4 or more down on the side. It's just something that he does. Kind of felt like doing it, so he did it. Pretty well thought out,
yeah,
huh?
And left-handers will do that from time to time, right? I don't know. It just sounded like a good idea.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
How about that plate appearance? Down 0-2, fouled off 3 pitches, got the count to 3-2, fouled off 4 more pitches, and takes ball 4.
Well, that's the way the Yankees played. I mean, they grind against you every day, and they're so tough to go against because up and down their lineup, they will continually get at-bats just like that.
A strike to Mark Teixeira, 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly, his 86th RBI of the year. He has driven in at least 80, 86. He has scored 83. Soft liner to third is caught, and Teixeira is the only big leader without at least 80 RBIs and 80 runs scored. So 1 away with a runner at first. And with other interesting facts, here's Joel.
Well, we've got Real Royals trivia tomorrow, Ryan, as we do every home Friday. It'll be during Hy-Vee Royals Live, so if you want to participate as a contestant, got to get out there to Rivals early to register. And remember, it's Real Royals trivia, not Real Yankees trivia. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're probably not going to do too well winning prizes because they're going to be Royals questions. There will be a Yankee theme to it tomorrow, but here you go. Real Royals trivia. Every question a Yankee theme, every answer a Royals answer. You get 4 choices. It's multiple choice. But I'm going to give you 6 choices here, guys, okay? Paul Splittorff, the hitters that he faced most frequently, the 6 hitters he faced most frequently were all Yankees at one point. Bucky Dent, Mickey Rivers, Roy Smalley, Reggie Jackson, Craig Nettles, Lou Piniella. Who did he face the most? Who had the most at-bats against Paul Splittorff in his career?
Kevin Schenk, who is the host of Real Royals Trivia.
I think I'm the host. He's
the
the
host.
He's the host. He's the voice.
Oh, the voice. I'm sorry, the voice.
Yeah, the studio voice.
Excuse me. Sorry, Joel.
It's okay. Maybe he'll host tomorrow.
No, you'll host. But Kevin from the truck suggests Mickey Rivers.
Okay, so Kevin would be wrong. That's when Kevin would say as the announcer, "You're wrong."
You know, another good question, too, while we're trying to figure this one out. What was Mickey Rivers' best line as a major leaguer? He had some good ones, didn't he?
I like the wind chill one. Things the outfielder needs to be aware of when he's out there. There were like 3 or 4, and Buddy Bell was telling this one. Had to be aware of who was at the plate, how deep he wanted to play. Had to be aware of how hard the wind was blowing, which way. Had to be aware of the sun, you know, in case you need the shades. And there was one other he couldn't come up with, and so he came up with, you had to know about the wind chill.
No out at second base. The throw gets away from Betancourt. That was not a double play ground ball, but the Royals at least wanted to get the out at second base. Aviles is hit with an error.
Long throw for Aviles right here. Big item is the footwork he's out here working on every day. Teddy Rodriguez, the infield coach. But right here, you get a ground ball, that's routine. You want to be able to get the lead runner. Betancourt maybe could have done a little better as far as bailing him out. Coming with your feet underneath you, spread a little bit so you're better on balance at second base. Be able to reach down and in. Not be so concerned with the base runner, but Aviles did him no favors with that throw.
What were the 6 selections again, Joel?
Bucky Dent, Mickey Rivers, who we have eliminated, Roy Smalley, Reggie Jackson, Craig Nettles, Lou Piniella. The 6 hitters with the most career at-bats against Paul Splittorff, all Yankees at one point. Who had the most at-bats against Split?
Director Steve Kurtenbach, who is one of 10 kids. Did you know that, Split?
Mm-mm.
He's going to go with Craig Nettles.
I might go with Bucky Dent because he was with the White Sox, and they were in our division.
You know,
so I might have seen him a little bit more because of the unbalanced schedule.
Well, how about, sorry to cut you off,
No,
Joel.
all right.
You are the host of this thing, after all.
Yes, but not the voice.
I would. I'm going to go with Roy Smalley for the same reason. I mean, because he was a twin.
Reggie was an A.
Okay.
All right, so the first thing we've learned, kind of like how Al Broughton always does in the house,
right?
That doesn't really apply for Real Royals trivia. So, you know, you can eliminate that as far as you're thinking. But none of those guys, I don't think, unless Reggie Jackson is here, are in the house. But the one thing I've learned with trivia questions applies to Jeff Montgomery, Paul Splittor, Frank White. They're never right about their own stuff. So you can eliminate Split's answer.
Okay.
Ryan oftentimes is right, but Steve Kurtenbach, with all those siblings, they probably were all just calling the truck right now, helping him out.
Right.
Phone a friend or a relative. So it is Craig Nettles.
Okay. That away, K-Man.
And by the way, you will get all those sound effects and the music from Randy Miller tomorrow. I mean, this is a full production and great prizes. And what do we say on the road, Ryan? Fun and exciting?
Both.
Both at the same time.
At the same time, which is hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
Like Royals trivia on the last homestand, it was fun. I was out there for that.
And exciting?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
At the same time.
And the guys were good. There were 3 of them right there. They all came up, took their opportunity. Yeah. It was all right.
All right. Slow breaking ball, another chance. This time the out at second base, and Cano out as well with a double play. So the error does not come back to hurt Chen or the Royals. Talking about real Royals trivia, let's take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. The Yankees have signed 6 free agents that played for the Royals the previous season. How many can you name?
I can start off with one.
Okay.
Chili Davis.
Okay.
Because there was a talk about a trade with them at the end of 1 year. Royals did not make the trade, but the Yankees signed him for nothing that next offseason.
Willie Bloomquist is 2 for 2, jumping on the first pitch from CC Sabathia. Kevin Shank was all over that, big Chili Davis fan. So anything Chili Davis, he's all over it. Well, I was close on the reason why Gregor Blanco had to leave the game tonight. It is being called heat, exhaustion, and dehydration. And as Joel was describing what he had to go through just to get back to Atlanta to see the birth of his son Gregor and rushing back to be with the Royals in the heat, you can understand how that's possible. Look at that play by Robinson Cano. Man, we talk about his soft hands when he's hitting. How about the dig and the tag on the short throw from Cervelli?
Well, Cervelli is a good catch and throw guy behind the plate. Big defensive upgrade over Posada, especially in the throwing department. That throw not on line, but Cano got there early, got to one knee, backhand pick, sweep at the tag. That's a terrific play by Cano. He's the only one of their infielders that hasn't won a gold glove to this point. He may be in line.
By my count, Rodriguez has 2, Jeter has 4, Teixeira has 3.
The strength of the ball club is in the infield, both defensively and with the bat.
Wilson Betemit, who played briefly with the Yankees, bats for the first time. So Blanco was 0 for 2. Betemit was the everyday third baseman on the last road trip, but was just 5 for 28. That's 179. 2 balls, 2 strikes against Sabathia.
There's a right-handed pitcher at one time named Mike Armstrong here in Kansas City in New York. I don't remember if it was a trade or not, but he played for both teams.
Put it down. How many were there? 6? There were 6. So we have Chili Davis, Mike Armstrong.
Did they have to go right from the Royals to?
Yes.
Okay, so Johnny Damon wouldn't be a guy.
Nope. Nope. The first one was 1988, and the most recent was 2007. One hop back to Sabathia, and there are 2 down in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2000. So who was with the Royals in 06 and went to the Yankees in 2007?
David Cohn in there somewhere?
Doug Minkiewicz. Jamie Quirk.
That's a tough question. Now it got a little bit rough with that one.
Yeah, you're kind of running up the score on that one. Kevin Shank says he didn't ask you to name all 6. He just said how many. Well, we got 2. Jason Kendall, 2 for 2 after a tough road trip, and got the day off yesterday in Anaheim. And he's going to pop out to Cano. The Royals send 3 to the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brought to you by Thoroughbred Ford. We'll trade for your old truck and get you into a new Ford F-150 for less at Thoroughbred Ford. Royals down by 2 to the top of the 6th inning. Bruce Chen giving up a run in the 2nd, a run in the 3rd, and 1 in the 4th. So the Yankees have not mounted a big inning against him. The Royals run coming in the bottom of the 4th. Both teams with 7 hits. Here's Bruce's pitch count at 90 and his pitch breakdown. 44% fastball and 54% anything other than a fastball, either a curveball, a cutter, or a changeup.
The kind of balance right there is going to make it very difficult for anybody to sit on one pitch. Plus the fact that he'll cut the ball in the hands of the right-hand hitter and then tail it away, so they'll break down the fastball a little bit more.
Marcus Thames drops it out into right field in front of Willie Bloomquist. Thames was the offensive hero for the Yankees last night. Hit a home run in the 8th inning to get the Yankees to within 1 and then put the Yankees in front against Neftali Feliz in the 9th. It's Hoops and Yo-Yo Day at the K, presented by Hallmark in celebration of their centennial. That's this Sunday at 1:10. Royals and the Yankees, and Royals fans can get up close and personal with Hoops and Yo-Yo, Hallmark's popular dynamic duo, as they take in the game at the K. 92 pitches for Bruce Chen and Austin Kearns, who is singled and homered coming up. And Ned Yost is going to bring in Kanekoa Teixeira. So a Chevy call to the bullpen with a runner at first and nobody out in the 6th inning. To Kanekoa Teixeira. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Paul Splittorff, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. And that split is Kanekoa Teixeira.
Absolutely, coming in for the 38th time this year. Royals bullpen really ought to be pretty well rested. Only 5 innings in the series against L.A. 5 innings pitched total for the pen up in Seattle. Kanekoa's last time out was the Monday game. One inning in the 3rd in that one. Had only a dozen pitches.
And he has long since graduated from the protected pitcher by way of the Rule 5 draft. Originally from the White Sox organization. Traded along with Nick Swisher to the Yankees, and then the Mariners took Teixeira from the Yankees system in the Rule 5. They placed him on waivers. The Royals picked him up, so they assumed the Rule 5 rules. And now he is right in the middle of Royals evaluations for their bullpen in 2011. I was talking to Ned Yost before the game about the Rule 5. He was a Rule 5 pick in his career, but he didn't have the opportunity to play that big league season as a deal was made. He was going to be returned back to his original organization, but a trade was cut, so he was able to continue his career in the minor leagues instead of, like a lot of Rule 5 guys, they're in A-ball one year, they're in the big leagues the next year.
Tough to bring an A-ball guy along and have him Rule 5 do well at your level. DJ Carrasco had one good year here after being a Rule 5 guy. He came up from, I think, Class A in the Pittsburgh organization. Big left-hander. Hard throwing left-hander. Cross. Got him.
Andrew Cisco.
Cisco.
Yep. Miguel Asensio. Of course, the one that really stands out now is Joaquim Soria. Minnesota Twins got Johan Santana from the Astros in the Rule 5. Center field, Mitch Meyer is there, and Austin Kearns is out for the first time. But it seems like, Split, for every one of those names that we come up with, there's a whole bunch of Rule 5 guys that come up, and it's just too big of a jump in too short of a time. Most of them hardly play when they get here, and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah, some of them don't get to play. Some of them maybe get overexposed a little bit, or where their weaknesses do show up. Maybe something that didn't have in camp when they were in spring training. But yeah, it's tough to make that jump. And there's a reason they're on a roster that made themselves available to somebody else.
Remember outfielder Rich Thompson? Left-hand batter, I mean, could absolutely fly. He was out of the Pirates organization. The Royals didn't keep him the entire year. They sent him back. This is 5-6 years ago.
Royals have actually had a little luck with some of those guys, at least for 1 year or part of 1 year, with Andrew Cisco. He was an outstanding lefty his first year, but then got hurt. DJ Carrasco must have gotten in trouble in Pittsburgh somehow, because he should have been a lot higher up than A-ball.
Now Granderson hits it into right field. So like Austin Kearns, he's out for the first time. And Thames is still at first with 2 down. You know, the thing about Joaquim Soria, too, and it's easy to beat up on the Padres for their inability to recognize what they had, and good for the Royals and Louis Medina, who discovered Joaquim Soria. But he is not originally from the Padres organization. He was with the Dodgers organization, and he had Tommy John surgery. So he was still on his way back, and I'm sure the Padres are still kicking themselves, but it's not so much what they let get away, but what Louis Medina was able to imagine when he saw Joaquim Soria pitch.
And everybody who had scouted the league at that time in winter ball saw that he was back healthy after the surgery, and everybody in baseball said he would get drafted as a Rule 5. It's just who is going to be the ball club that is there in position to pick him up. Fortunately for us here in Kansas City, it was the Royals.
Francisco Cervelli, who used to be a teammate of Kanekoa Teixeira in the Yankees farm system, grounds out, and the Royals get around a leadoff single. visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. Here's Bennett Springs State Park in Lebanon. The park contains the state's third largest spring and features trout fishing, float trips, hiking trails, and camping. Then there's the Ha Ha Tonka Park in Camdenton, featuring towering bluffs that offer a majestic view of the Ozarks. And there's the Katy Trail, a 225-mile bike path stretching across most of the state. Go to visitmo.com for more information.
Camdenton's a great part of the state.
Billy Butler, Keela Kaihue, and Yunievsky Betancourt coming up. Billy grounds out to second again. Last time was a 4-6-3 double play. And by getting one out in the sixth inning, CC Sabathia has gone longer tonight than Bruce Chen, as 58% predicted. Thanks for voting tonight. You can keep voting if you want to.
CC averages about 6 2/3 innings per outing. There's a couple of complete games so far this year. Something in writing down the stats really don't do much anymore. Don't notice the complete games. They don't have many of them. There are shutouts. Must be something you think about all the time. Can the opposing guy tonight, can he shut us out? He might be able to do it. You know? He's a guy that can get it done.
He has not given up more than 3 earned runs in his last 13 starts. So the Yankees, and they shelled out a lot of money to sign him, but they have a pretty good idea of what they're going to get from him every night.
You know, I just wonder, how is the guy going to be under the bright lights of New York? Will he be able to handle it? Well, CC kind of settled all that way. He finished after that trade from Cleveland to Milwaukee. Coming down the stretch, he just came thundering down. First time he'd been in a pennant race. Had never won 20 games before, but he's won 19 a couple times, 17 a couple other times. Got a shot at it here in 2010.
Playing for Ned Yost. That year he went 11-2 for Milwaukee.
Didn't he have 7 complete games with them in, 2 months? Some crazy number.
All I remember is he did exactly, if not more, than what the Brewers were hoping for when they made that trade.
Well, as I remember, he was going on a short rest. I think he was going on 3 days, so he really thrived on that.
Keela takes a 1-out walk, and that's Sabathia's first.
Yeah, Milwaukee, 17 starts. He completed 7 of them. He had 3 shutouts. So if you're going to be a free agent, why don't you go back to the National League? I mean, really. Get a bat right there by Keela. And that won't hurt his rep as a guy who has good knowledge of the zone.
Betancourt, after hitting 400 on the road trip with 3 home runs, is 0 for 2 tonight. He is lined to center, grounded out to short. And now he grounds out to second, and it's going to cost the Royals 2 outs. The Yankees turn a double play for the second time tonight. To the 7th inning, and the Yankees have not had a big inning yet, but they've scored 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. Austin Kearns has homered for New York. Sabathia is going for his 17th career win against the Royals, his 15th win this year. He's given up 1 run, 7 hits in 6 innings. And Bruce Chen went 5 innings plus 1 batter and allowed 3 runs on 8 hits. Kanekoa Teixeira came on after a leadoff single from Marcus Thames in the 6th inning and then retired the next 3. Derek Jeter trying to bunt his way on. So Jeter, with an infield single in the 3rd inning, has now tied Frankie Frisch for 37th on the all-time hit list with 2,880. I don't know if this happens with you, Split, but there are certain players, and for me, Jeter's one, Ken Griffey Jr.'s another one. They were so young when they got to the big leagues that it's hard to believe. In Jeter's case, he's coming up on 3,000 hits. He should do it early next year. 36 years old. It was like trying to digest Ken Griffey Jr. being 40 years old this year.
Also, there's some guys you don't want to see them in another uniform. I mean, he belongs in New York. This is the final year of a 10-year deal for him. I don't think there's a chance he'd ever go anywhere else.
Question is, how long does he sign? How long do the Yankees think he can play shortstop? Alex Rodriguez has signed forever, so if the Yankees just wanted to slide him over to 3rd base, that position isn't available. And if you slide him over to 2nd, if they feel like he is no longer able to play shortstop, well, they have Robinson Cano there.
I don't think there's any reason to move him around because he has improved his range over the last couple of years. After the 07 season, the Yankees went to him and said, you got to do something. You got to have more range. It slipped a little bit, or you're going to have to move. Well, he turned around and he won a Gold Glove last year. So, he did what they asked him to do, and I don't think at this point anything has shown up why you have to move him away from the shortstop position.
Chops it to Betemit, who fumbles it twice. And Jeter is safe at 3rd.
Well, Betemit playing deep at 3rd base. This little number right here is able to get a nice convenient hop right there. Went to the glove, but had trouble with trade off to the throwing hand, unable to corral it. As you mentioned, bobbled it a couple times. After the first bobble, he had no opportunity to get Jeter, who gets down that line pretty well.
I'm glad what you said about Jeter, because I agree with you. And, you can measure range however you want to. I still think the scouts do the best job of measuring a player's range. But, in some ways, making the plays at shortstop is kind of like a pitcher who's not lighting up the radar gun. The radar gun might say one thing, but the pitcher's statistics and his win-loss record might say something else. So Jeter might not be covering the ground that Eric Ibar does with the Angels, but are the Yankees making more outs than not when a ball is hit his way?
Well, 2009 was a turnaround year for him, not only with the bat but also defensively. So many times you get away from the real numbers and maybe the stats, and you say, well, what about his instincts? How much does he see? We talk about hitters adjusting all the time at the plate. A defender that watches his pitcher and opposing hitters, he will make an adjustment defensively. So maybe if he does lose a half a step or something like that, he can make it up by making an adjustment by what he sees happening at the plate.
And I think Jeter was just giving Yuniesky Betancourt a bad time about the play that Uni made on him in the 4th. But I believe Uni could get right back on him and say, what about what you did to me in the 4th inning? Those will be tonight's Chevrolet plays of the game.
Well, both of them are worth seeing again. Uni from the outfield grass, plenty on that arm right there to make a play. Does it a little bit differently than Jeter does. This is the way he does it. He does it better than that.
That is a long first out of the inning off the bat of Mark Teixeira. So Teixeira against Teixeira. Jeter to third. Swisher's at first, one down. So that's Mark Teixeira. As far as the Royals Teixeira, different spelling. Take a look at tonight's Haynes comfort zone. And Kanekoa with a 3.41 ERA with the Royals, waived by the Mariners after a 5.3 ERA with them. So he has found a comfort zone in Kansas City.
Ryan, you talk about him being in the middle of the bullpen coming out. When you think about middle inning reliever, he's normally the first guy out. The last road trip, he was appearing in 4 games. That was more than anybody else. So he's in that first line of defense out there in the pen.
I was talking to him in New York about going from Double-A to the big leagues, and I asked him, have you surprised yourself with how well you pitch? And he said yes. I said, well, what have you learned? It's interesting. He said, you can't be afraid. I mean, these guys are good, but as he put it, they're not video game good. I mean, they're human beings. They can be retired. And if there is any fear on the mound, whether you have the experience or not, forget it. So the attitude basically being, they may beat me, but it's not going to be because I was afraid to put the ball over the plate.
You know, another thing that might have helped him, he came along to get time when the Royals had already gotten that bullpen turned around a little bit. And that bullpen has actually been a strength once you got into the middle part of June. Now, it has turned over again with how Farnsworth being moved off the roster, but he came into a pretty solid bullpen where the roles were kind of defined, and he had an opportunity to work his way in with a bunch of guys that had it going pretty good. Maybe if he'd gotten here in April, what everything was blowing up all the way around, it would have been a little different story.
Phil Umber working behind him out in the Royals bullpen. And when Teixeira is right, he's getting ground balls, and the Royals are hoping for a ground ball double play. Rodriguez lays off the pitch down, and it's 2-2. Teixeira, Rodriguez, and Cano are hitless. Teixeira has driven in a run. Cano has scored a run. Otherwise, they are combined 0 for 8. And the count goes to 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rodriguez has grounded into 6 double plays. He has also hit 8 sacrifice flies. So with 90 RBIs this year, and that's the second most in the league, he knows what he's looking for here and what he's trying to avoid. He's looking for a pitch up.
Rob Thompson, the third base coach, just went through a long series of signs. See if they send the runner from over at first base. Swisher was running earlier in the game.
He is running, and there's a ground ball to deep third. Bedamit will play it to first. That's in time. Rodriguez picks up his 91st RBI to get Jeter to the plate. So sending the runner allows Swisher to move up to second base. And there are 2 down.
It's all about getting men on base early in an inning. Something the Royals had a problem with in the series back in New York a couple of weeks ago. But get your leadoff man on, get him over to third base, and all of a sudden you put the ball in play. You do a fly ball or an infield ground ball. Got another run.
And now the Royals will walk Robinson Cano. I may just give it away by bringing it up right now, but if I were to ask you, Split, who has the second most intentional walks, or let's say the top 3 intentional walks in the American League? Do you have any guesses right off the bat?
I'd take Cabrera.
That's number 1.
Really? Okay. About Hamilton down in Arlington.
Not on the list.
Really?
Yeah. Good guess, though.
A-Rod probably in there.
That's what I would guess. The answer is no. Tied for second is Robinson Cano, and now he's in second place all by himself. And the explanation I got when we were in New York is that, you know, you get Jeter, Swisher, Teixeira, Rodriguez, Cano, And then when Jorge Posada was on the disabled list, there was a bit of a drop-off for the rest of the batting order. And so a lot of times he was being walked like he is right here. Not because he is the biggest power threat that they have, but because of what comes up after him.
Well, another thing, I think early in the year he was hitting 7th more than anywhere else. So I think it took him a while to get out of that spot. He was leading the league most of the first half of the year in hitting. So I think it didn't start out early on. I think any of those pre-passes would have been probably in late May, June, into July, not the early part of the year.
Yankees get 1 and have a 4-1 lead to the bottom of the 7th. Takes us around the American League. Toronto beats Boston, so the Blue Jays go to 6 games above 500. Cleveland beats Baltimore. It was Minnesota, or is Minnesota, in front of Chicago 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. They are tied for first place in the Central. So the Yankees with a 1.5 game lead in the East. White Sox, Twins tied in the Central. And then Texas with a 7.5 game lead over the Angels in the West. CC Sabathia has thrown only 72 pitches tonight. Alex Gordon has lined to left. Lost a hit on a nice running, reaching play by Kearns. And then Alex doubled and scored in the 4th inning. So he had been 2 out of 17 against Sabathia in the past, but a couple of good swings tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Man, we talked about it last time up. Last couple of years, everybody playing him as a pull hitter towards right center field. Yankees thinking a little bit different right now with what he's done since he came back. Playing pull in the infield, the opposite way in the outfield.
And with all the advanced scouting and all the pie graphs and video, it doesn't take very long to pick up on what a guy is doing. In this case, what Alex has done since his recall. Two balls, 2 strikes.
If he's going to start going the opposite way a little bit more often, they'll have to pound him inside, which Sabathia is trying to do right here. He won't throw his out pitch right now. He won't want to go to 3-2. When in doubt, go down and away.
3rd strikeout. 1 down in the 7th inning. Well, I hope you'll come join a good cause tomorrow and Saturday at Kauffman Stadium as the Royals' wives host the back-to-school drive. All school supply donations benefit T.A. Edison Elementary School. For more details, visit betty.cagle@royals.com. Her name is Betty Cagle, but her email address is betty.cagle. Dot is not her middle name. And is tomorrow and Saturday. Mike Aviles drove in the Royals' run with a 2-out single in the 4th inning, scoring Alex Gordon. He is 1 for 2, and now down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Try to get him to chase up. Aviles is 4 out of 8. His 1 for 2 effort tonight in his career against CC Sabathia. Two and two. Sabathia with 16 career wins against the Royals. That's the most for him against any team. And this is his 34th appearance against the Royals. And the same in that category. Still 2 and 2.
Mike Aviles is kind of quietly putting together a nice little stretch of hitting. They said here earlier tonight he's now hitting 9 out of 10 games. It kind of goes unnoticed with all the movement around, with him moving around in the infield, filling in a little bit more. Been pretty steady with the bat over the last week and a half.
Rounded to Rodriguez. 2 down in the 7th inning. Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And because of Mariano Rivera, Yankees are the best in the major leagues when leading after 8, 60-0. Then the Oakland A's, and then the Royals. So if the Royals want to avoid that, they need to come up with 3 runs at least in their next inning and a third.
You know, one of the teams who has not done very well in that department would be Texas Rangers. They lost last night. That's the 11th loss so far this year when they had a lead after 7 innings. They had a 6-1 lead against New York last night with Cliff Lee on the mound. They closed that out most nights, but it didn't happen last night. They lost in 10, but 11 losses. When you have a lead left, that's a high number for a top-ranked team in the division.
And with a stat like that, you would expect that particular team to have the lead that the Rangers do. I mean, that's usually a statistic reserved for someone at the bottom of a division.
They've got a pretty good closer in Neftali Feliz. Sometimes that's a reflection of the guy out there in the 9th inning, but I think they're having more of a problem with the bridge guy, the setup guy.
Three balls, 1 strike. Mitch has struck out, flied out to left field so far tonight. Talking about guys potentially slowing down. Mariano Rivera has a 1.06 ERA. So much for that. Popped up. Jeter backs out to the grass. And the Royals are down 1-2-3 against Sabathia in the 7th. Eighth inning, Yankees in front 4-1. This is game 1 of 4. We hope you'll make plans now to head out to Kauffman Stadium tomorrow night. Game 2 with the Yankees also at 7:10. And we hope you'll stick around after the game for another new and improved Fireworks Friday presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee. You can get your tickets right now at Royals.com or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. Chevy call to the bullpen, and here's right-hander Greg Holland for the 8th inning.
Been a while since he's been out in the middle of the diamond. It was the first game of that last road trip. Friday night ball game in Oakland. With just 1 inning in that one. It's kind of impressive his breaking ball that night. Fastball, curveball, and a bigger kind of slurve pitch.
He'll get Austin Kearns, Curtis Granderson, and Francisco Cervelli. Kearns singled his first time and then homered against Bruce Chen in the 4th. Flied out in the 6th. Chen gave up 3 runs in 5 innings, and then Kanekoa Teixeira gave up an unearned run in his 2 innings. In that game on August the 7th, or the 2nd rather, 10 days ago, when Greg made his major league debut, he retired the first hitter, but then the next 4 reached. A lot of times a guy making his major league debut, that first guy can be the most difficult one. Knees wobbling. Home plate probably looks a little bit farther away from the pitcher's mound than he remembered in the minor leagues. Driven into right center and slicing towards Willie Bloomquist. 1 down in the 8th inning.
I always thought Oakland was kind of a tough place to pitch anyhow because the stands are set back pretty wide, and it looks like there's a whole lot of room about home plate. Some plate does not stand out in that ballpark like it does in some others, so it's not the easiest place to come out and find the zone. Fell off of a couple pitches in that first at bat right there. Jason Kendall meant it to him. It comes straight at me, flies open, hits on the line towards the left-handed hitter a little bit. Have to stay on top and deliver strong down in the zone. There he fell off again. You know, your stride needs to be at home plate, not so much towards that left-handed hitter. Tough to get on top of a sinking fastball or get much tight spin on a breaking ball. See if it goes a little bit more at the catcher here. A little bit better, but not a whole lot. You can still line it up a little bit better. Jason Kendall got on about the 2nd or 3rd pitch of that first at bat.
Is the falling off a result of trying to throw too hard?
Yeah, probably opens up on the front side a little too much. You open up on the front side, the lower half is going to follow with it. Talking about hitters staying closed on the front side to stay on the ball. If you fly open, you lose everything. Same thing happens with the pitcher. If you fly open on the front side, you don't have anything left.
Take a look at the pitch location on that 3-0 pitch, brought to you by Taco Bell.
Everything missing to the wide side of the plate. Now he's trying to pitch down in the zone. Good idea right there, but tough to stay in the zone when you're falling off the hill.
So Granderson, who was a struggling hitter coming into tonight, 2 hits, an RBI, and now walk, bringing up Francisco Cervelli. Granderson, as a base stealer this year, has been perfect. 10 out of 10. But in this lineup, even though the Yankees will run, they're 8th in the league, so right in the middle. A lot of times, guy gets on base, and the Yankees playing for a big inning, they're going to sit back and hold on to the running game.
Yankees are actually a little bit younger and a little bit more speed overall in this year's team than some of past campaigns, and running a little bit more right now with Granderson, the center fielder, Gardner, the left fielder. Gardner has the speed to play center field. In fact, he was in center field a lot a year ago. So because of those 2 guys, they have to run a little bit more right there.
Tomorrow night it's Kyle Davies and Dustin Mosley in Game 2. Ivy Royals Live with Joel begins at 6:30. Granderson has stolen as many as 26, and now he's running, and Cervelli fouls it away. Running again and fouled away again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rob Thompson is the third base coach, giving the play to Granderson at first and Cervelli at the plate. There have been so many games, it seems, over the last 10 years where the Royals and Yankees have been close for the first 5 or 6 innings. And then the Yankees really stretch out the time of game and add offense in the last 3 innings. They've gotten a run in the 7th inning tonight. Cervelli grounds it to short. Nice big hop for Betancourt. Fumbled for a moment and no double play. Didn't quite get the grip he wanted right away. And as a result, the Royals get 1 out.
That little bobble right there by Betancourt, the difference in getting the double play and not getting the double play. That's all it takes to get you about an extra stride on that runner going down the first baseline. Phillips did everything he could to bail that one out pretty quick on the relay, but a little bit late over there on the other side.
Royals have committed 2 errors tonight, one of those leading to an unearned run. Cervelli has a unique looking helmet, and there's a reason for that. He's had a couple of concussions recently, including getting hit on the helmet during spring training. Also had a concussion during winter ball, so kind of an odd looking helmet, a little bigger helmet than the normal Major League batting helmet, a little extra padding, a little more protection for his head. Grounded into right field, a base hit for Jeter, his second. He has scored a couple of runs, and the Yankees have 2 on with 2 out.
Good Jeter with that inside out swing. It looks like he can do this anytime he wants to. Ball is down inside part of the plate, but not to the corner where the Royals really wanted it delivered. With Butler holding the runner on first base. Side of the infield is wide open.
So with that base hit, Derek Jeter now is all by himself at number 37 on the all-time hit list with 2,881.
Who did he pass?
Frankie Frisch. And before this series is over, he could tie and or pass Zach Wheat, who is at 2,884, so 3 hits in front of Jeter. And now Nick Swisher, who has been perfect tonight, 3 singles and a walk. Already have their hands full against CC Sabathia. They have scored 1 run in 7 innings, and we expect to see Sabathia out for the 8th. His pitch count is just in the low 80s. And then, of course, the statistic that we showed you, the Yankees are 60-0 this year when they have a lead after 8 innings. So they cannot allow the Yankees to score any more runs. But as I was just saying, we've seen this game before. And by the end of the game, it's not a close game, but then you think back and you go, well, this was a pretty good ball game for a while.
Kind of like your golf game. You played the front side pretty well, but about 12 it started to fall apart. By the time you finished 18, you wonder where it went.
Yeah. And
it was the reason you played 9 innings.
Ready to throw your clubs in the lake.
Swisher is a guy that was looking forward to the postseason. Had a good year a year ago in the regular campaign, but had a terrible time when they got to October. Like another opportunity. Struck out 15 times in 47 at-bats last year in October.
Strikes out, but with 2 outs, Kendall has to throw down to first. So it's a scoreless 8th inning for Greg Holland.
Following the game on Boulevard Royals Live, Jeff Montgomery and I will wrap up this game. Reaction from Ned Yost and the Royals clubhouse, and we'll take a look at Bruce Chen's night. We talked early in the game about the need for first pitch strikes and staying out of 3-ball counts. We'll take a look back and see how he did with that. Much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live with Monty, guys.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Brett Gardner moves into left field with a 3-run lead into the bottom of the 8th inning. And Austin Kearns, who started in left, shifts over to right. So Nick Swisher is out. And Gardner will hit in the number 2 position. CC Sabathia, not even with 90 pitches yet, begins the 8th inning with Willie Bloomquist, Wilson Betemit, and Jason Kendall coming up. Willie is 2 for 2. He was already a .320 career hitter against Sabathia, and he has added to that with a couple of singles. And there's a big hop that almost took off Jeter's cap, but he handles it and throws out Bloomquist 1 away. Split, I mentioned earlier that Sabathia has never been on the DL with an arm injury, and besides being a big, strong man, what is it about his mechanics that would lead to that statistic?
Well, he has a loose arm, very easy arm wrestling right there, so there's little strains can be hoped for on that arm. He does a lot of it with his lower half, the powerful legs and hip area. He is a deceptive guy. If you look at him, he lifts down as he strides to the plate, but then kind of throws that arm and glove back up at the hitter as he lifts up at the hitter. A little bit of a hitch there, makes him a little bit deceptive, but that doesn't do anything about putting his arm in a bad place to where he might get hurt. All of his power comes from the lower half. He's very consistent as his release point, so he doesn't put his arm in a weakened position up there at the time of the release.
Betemit drives it into deep right center field. It is off the wall and into second base with a 1-out double. Is Betemit. He is 1 for 2.
Royals are a team that has been lacking for power all year long, and that's one of the reasons that Bedemeat has gotten more time. That ball thigh high, just barely on the outer half of the plate. He's able to stay down, get through the ball, and just launches it to right center field. That's the reason he's gotten some more playing time. That's the reason he'll get more time here in the final month and a half. First time we saw Bedemeat, I believe, was with New York, wasn't it? Playing a lot at first base at the time.
And from what I remember, a much thicker Wilson Bedemeat when he was with the Yankees. I mean, he looked more like a guy who was playing over at first base, built that way, and trimmed down in spring training with the Royals this year.
Well, we knew he came up as a middle infielder. He didn't look anything like a middle infielder when we first saw him.
So he's at second with one out. Jason Kendall has 2 hits tonight. The Royals have 8, but so far just the 1 run.
Yankees actually getting a little movement out there in their bullpen. It's been quiet all night long to this point.
Two and one. David Robertson is going to start to loosen up. Standing next to bullpen coach Mike Harkey, former big league pitcher. Jammed him and into shallow center field. Granderson runs it down. So that keeps the potential tying run on deck. Joakim Soria just starting to play catch out in the Royals bullpen, just in case the Royals were to take the lead here in the bottom of the 8th. He would be on for the 9th. He also hasn't pitched in a while. Didn't pitch in one single game during the Angels series as the Royals were swept. And then the Royals lost the final game of the Seattle series, and Ned Yost has said he does not want Joakim to go more than 4 days without getting into the game. Well, he's now been out for 4 games.
If you were just a guy off the street and had an opportunity to sit in the bullpen one night, if you sat there for a while, you could figure out who the long men were, who the bridge guy was, who the setup guy was, and who the closer was just by the way they carried themselves in the pen. The ball game starts and the left-hander, the right-hander who might be the long guy very much into the game as the starter is out there and kind of watching everything as the game unfolds because he knows if something happens early, that phone call is going to be for him. While the other one's probably going to be goofing off, maybe doing a crossword puzzle, just kind of hanging out there on their own time. But once the ball game shapes up and it's a close one, all of a sudden that guy who was the long guy, he'll kind of kick back, maybe get a soft drink, maybe get something to eat. Middle guys, they're now on the edge of their seat. Now they're paying a little bit of attention. You saw Mariano Rivera doing some light stretching exercises over there in the Yankee bullpen. He probably hasn't moved for 7 innings. Some guys don't even go to the bullpen until about the 6th or 7th inning if they're the late guy. But if you just sit out there and watch it, it's really pretty interesting. Guys are getting ready to go to work, and right now, you know who the closer is for New York and who the setup man might be. Getting late to where Sabathia might be running a little low on fuel.
And Billy walks with 2 outs. And now Sabathia is going to hear from pitching coach Dave Island, and he is at 99 pitches.
Really important part of the ballgame. The Royals have it really where they had hoped to have it, down by 3 runs. You got a couple men on base, and you got your number 4 hitter due up. He hasn't done a whole lot since his recall, but you're also in there for the 4th time against his pitcher, so you got an idea how they might work against you. Hitters tell me the hard throwers, they hate seeing them in that first inning, that first time up. On the hot days, they said that second time up, He's out there sweating. He's lost a little bit. That third time up, that's when you want to nail him right there, because that fastball would have lost it a little bit. You would have seen the breaking ball by then. Well, this is the fourth time through, but you're going against one of the best in the business, CC Sabathia.
Keela has a broken bat single, a fly out to deep center field, and a walk. Bedemeet with a 1-out double at second base, and Butler with a 2-out walk at first. And Keela chased a pitch in on his hands, lost another bat, and the Royals lose a scoring opportunity in the 8th.
Set of 3 strikeouts, just 1 hit allowed. 1 inning Tuesday in Oakland, 1 inning last Saturday in Seattle. Saves number 30 and 31.
Mark Teixeira 0 for 3. He has driven in a run, his 86th. Broke his bat, and the count is 1-1. Yankees have scored in 4 innings. In the second inning, Curtis Granderson singled with 2 outs, drove in Robinson Cano. In the third inning, Teixeira sacrifice fly scored Derek Jeter. In the fourth, Austin Kearns hit a home run with nobody on. And in the seventh, Alex Rodriguez ground ball scored Jeter. The Royals' only run coming in the bottom of the fourth. Mike Aviles driving in Alex Gordon. 1-2 on Teixeira, who has hit in 7 straight games. Batting average down at .257, but the 26 home runs, 86 driven in. In addition to being the only major leaguer with at least 85 RBIs and 85 runs scored, he also has at least 25 doubles, and right at 25, or make that 26, and at least 25 home runs. He's 26 there. Back to Soria. 1 away. Was there a pitcher in the American League, maybe there was more than one, that you really admired? And so when you were on the mound, you thought to yourself, hey, this guy's watching me pitch I want to show him the best that I have, because Soria really admires Mariano Rivera.
And it was good there at the All-Star game a couple years ago, so they were able to establish a relationship. Now, Joaquin is from Mexico. Rivera is from Panama, but have that Latin background, so they had that to go on, but so many similarities in the way they handle their job.
So did you have anyone that made you a bit nervous early in your career because you knew he was watching you pitch?
I didn't think about that so much. I thought about me watching them, and Catfish was one, because he made it look so easy until you got him in trouble. All of a sudden that fastball is about 3 miles an hour faster. Slider was a little bit harder, a little bit quicker. All of a sudden he had another gear that he could go to, and I thought I was going out a lot all the time. Didn't dare back off, but he was the guy I liked to watch the most, although I didn't throw anything like him at all. Just always did respect him and the way he went about it. Plus, I'd always heard he was an awesome teammate.
Right to Aviles. 2 down in the top of the 9th inning. Alex Rodriguez finishes the night 0 for 5, but he has driven in his 91st run.
You know, not thinking about a pitcher watching me and what I was doing. I was more concerned about the hitters. You know, what are they looking at? What do they see? What kind of pattern am I getting in? Are they thinking along with me? They're starting to get a little too much, knowing too much about me. What I might do. I didn't think about the pitcher looking at me and saying, well, he does this or he does that. My whole thought was about the guy who I might match up against. I remember my first game, my first win was here in Kansas City. Bob Lemon, a Hall of Famer, was my manager. Ted Williams was managing the opposing team. He's in the Hall of Fame, and I'm thinking, Williams probably wants to hit against me, and Lem is probably wondering, why do I have this guy out here? I wasn't anywhere near as good as either one of those guys.
Well, see, I'm different from you, because if I were asked to go out there and pitch right now, I'd be nervous because you were here watching me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you ought to be worrying about something else. How are you going to keep that ball off your chest?
Off of Soria's leg, right to Billy Butler, just the way they practice it before the game tonight. So we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Royals are down by 3. He got more than that on one play. And a ground ball off the bat of Robinson Cano hit him on his left leg, and then it appeared he rolled his ankle, hitting the bag with his right leg. Here's the ground ball just above the knee. That's the beginning of the play. Joaquin, the former soccer player, deflects it perfectly, but then that, ouch.
Well, ideally you get to first base quick so you don't have to field the ball and be searching for the bag at the same time, but slid across the top and maybe rolled his ankle a little bit. Could have a bruise on the left thigh, maybe a little swelling in the right ankle. Didn't take you long in the middle of the diamond. You were wondering about who was looking at you. If you're playing against these guys, they're not messing around. You might want to be thinking about something else.
CC Sabathia is going for his 31st career complete game. He has 3 against the Royals. He is at 102 pitches. And we'll get Yuniesky, Betancourt, Alex Gordon, and Mike Aviles. Grounded to Rodriguez, who was playing in. So he had very little reaction time, but speared the one hopper. And Betancourt is 0 for 4. Sabathia giving up just the 1 run in the 4th inning, and that came with 2 outs and nobody on. Alex Gordon doubled and then came home on Mike Aviles' single. Curveball is inside, and this will really help out the Yankees in their bullpen. Not necessarily because their bullpen is ragged at the moment, but they're in the middle of a stretch of 36 games in 37 days. Alex floats it over Jeter and into center field for his 2nd hit.
Alex is a guy you'd like to have him build some confidence in the next month and a half as you head into 2011. That ball not hit all that hard. It's on the inner half of the plate, but Wells had 5 home runs on that last road trip. He had a pair of them. Keep him going. Obviously a new position for him, playing the outfield now and left field every day, but want to have him enjoy his time at the plate as well, see if he can get something going.
Look out. 96 miles an hour, and Aviles hit a shot over to the Royals dugout. It hit the netting in front of the dugout. Hey, there's David DeJesus. So David is trying to watch the Royals after having surgery on his right thumb. The last time they faced CC Sabathia and the Yankees in New York, David went crashing into the wall and just trying to watch the game from the dugout, almost got hit by a line drive.
He wasn't with the club on the trip, was he? I didn't see him on the field before the game, so not working out at this point. You can see why not.
And that's into shallow right field, a base hit, and the Royals will have the tying run at the plate with only 1 out. Still, like Alex Gordon, Mike Aviles has his 2nd hit of the night.
Remember how Fred White used to say, if you want to dream a little bit, you got the potential tying run to the plate. Speed pitch right here. Aviles maybe got 1 out of the zone a little bit, down and away, but he's able to loop a soft base hit into right field. Royals have the potential tying run at the plate.
So it was a save situation when the inning started, and the Yankees stay with Sabathia, but now that the Royals are trying to put something together, it is not Mariano Rivera warming up. It is David Robertson.
One of the things that sets Sabathia apart from some others, he wants to be in the game late with the ball game on the line. Now remember, this is the 4th time through the batting order for the Royals against him, but pitch count is at 109, but he didn't care. This is his ball game. He wants to walk out of here when the final out is made.
Rivera pitched the last 2 games in Texas. To Sherrup, that play will lead him to second base. So the Yankees get the second out. Gordon up to third base. Avila's cut down at second, and Myers at first. And Joe Girardi says 110 pitches is enough for Sabathia, so he's not going to get the complete game. Instead, it'll be David Robertson who will be going for his first save of the year.
He was going for his third complete game of the year here tonight. Will not happen. Here's David Robertson coming in for the 43rd time this year. Only job at Chamberlain. And Mariano Rivera have more appearances for him than him. And saves so far this year, but does have 9 holds. Big-time strikeout guy. 41 innings pitched with 48 punch-outs this year. Opponents hitting .253 against him. Robertson has given up only 3 home runs.
And those strikeout numbers are down. I mean, still better than 1 strikeout per inning pitch, but last year struck out 63 in a little over 43 innings. And he's not very big. He's 5'11", but has a big arm. Willie Bloomquist was 2 out of 3 against Sabathia with a couple of singles. Mitch Meyer takes second base. The Yankees will allow him to do so. So no stolen base.
Robertson primarily a 2-pitch guy. A fastball will be in the mid-90s. And a big, hard, straight downer type curveball.
Two balls and no strikes. I have heard his curveball described as a snapdragon curveball. What does that mean?
Bite.
He is a Yankee product out of the University of Alabama. And Willie lines it into right center field. That'll score 2, make it a 1-run game. And Bloomquist is in scoring position with 2 down.
Willie got a favorable count at 2-0. Robertson came back with a fastball. He got it elevated up and down over the plate. And Bloomquist has always been a good high ball hitter. They're going for down and away. It didn't get there. He got it into the gap in right center field. Picks up a couple RBIs in the process. It's now a 4-3 Yankee lead. Rolled deep enough that Bloomquist is able to pedal into second base.
And now another visit to the mound from pitching coach Dave Island, which might center around what they want to do with Wilson Betemit. I mean, obviously the Yankees don't want to put the winning run on base in the bottom of the 9th inning, but do they want Betemit to have the opportunity to tie the game Bedemeat has some power, or if push comes to shove, will they make Jason Kendall tie the game?
They have a base open. Might be about how they want to go about attacking Bedemeat. 3 fastballs to the last hitter. We have not seen the curveball yet.
And it's a little bit outside for ball 1. Bedemeat coming on defensively in the 5th inning, and with a defensive shift going into 3rd as Gregor Blanco came out of center field because of dehydration. There's the curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1. And Bedemeat has batted twice. He is grounded to the mound and doubled. He is facing David Robertson for the first time.
Granderson normally plays very deep in center field, but they want to be shallow enough they could throw out Bloomquist. He tries to score on a base hit.
It's over the inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Thought maybe they'd want to go after Bedemeat with the curveball since the first 2 pitches were the breaking ball, but came back with the fastball.
Curveball, grounded left side. Robertson couldn't find the grip. Royals are still breathing. They have the tying run at 3rd, winning run at 1st.
Well, the Royals still alive in this one. Robertson had an opportunity to make a play right here, but didn't get to the baseball. Always has some funny spin on it with a little number in the infield like that. Normally settles down in the grass where you have to get over the ball before you try to pick it up with the bare hand. He never quite got there. As a result, it went out of his bare hand, bounded away from him. It was right off the end of the bat and just dies in the grass. You have to get to that ball, and he never got to it. You see it outside his foot. Try to get your foot past the ball so the ball is underneath you when he reached down to get it. He never got to it. Came up a little bit short on it and had no play at first. Wisely, he didn't make a throw right here. Had no opportunity. Nothing good happens if he makes a throw right there.
Now Chris Getz will run for Bedemeat, and it comes down to Robertson and Kendall. First time that Jason Kendall has faced Robertson. Fastball is outside. Tonight, 2 out of 4 with a couple of singles. Both of those hits against CC Sabathia. One ball, 1 strike.
Thing you know about Kendall right here, good bet to put the ball in play for you. Not going to drive the ball deeper. Right now, you got to get the ball game tied if you can. It's better against lefties.
Kendall will lay down a bunt, and Alex Rodriguez is in at 3rd. Missed the curve, and it's 1-2.
That's the best curveball that Robertson has thrown in this outing. First couple didn't do all that much. This is a little different story right here. That one does have some sharp break, but a lot of it has to do with the location. Down and away from the right-handed hitter. That's where you get your best snap and quickest break.
Bloomquist has doubled in 2 to make it a 1-run game. Bedemeat reached with an infield single. Getz is running for him, and Kendall fouls the fastball away. And I think Robertson is lucky that he fouled it away. That's where Jason likes it, up and out over the plate, and he was trying to shoot it to right center field.
They're trying to go down and away off the plate. That ball might be off the plate 3 or 4 inches, but Kendall doing a good job of covering it.
We've seen him finesse some of those out into right. Now up, almost got him on the chin. Boy, he was not going to give up the outside part of the plate, and as a result, he almost leaned into the strike zone.
And he will occasionally lean into a pitch from time to time, but you don't lean into it when it's up in the ear lap. Oh, man.
Kendall has been hit more than any other current player. Getz runs, and Kendall fouls it away. Jason has been hit 253 times in his career. and that is 3rd all time. But that might have been the last time he was hit by a pitch.
Well, sending the base runner right there, hoping to move a middle infielder, figuring the right side had coverage responsibility. Kendall probably going to go that way.
Not running, and Kendall fouls it away. So Mariano Rivera not available tonight, at least not to this point. He pitched the last 2 games in Texas, and we saw him earlier loosening up in the bullpen, not necessarily throwing, but what looked like a typical closer stretching routine in the 8th inning. But as it turns out, he was just stretching and nothing else.
He got stretched out a little bit last night. He gave up a leadoff triple to Elvis Andrus, who was on third with nobody out, with Michael Young due up. Hamilton was due up. Guerrero after that. Got all 3 of them. Texas did not score to tie that game.
Snapdragon got him. So the Royals make it interesting in the bottom of the 9th, but David Robertson picks up his first save, and the Yankees take game 1, 4-3, and we'll be right back.